Hello and welcome to Worlds of War Studios presents 5 in 15, where you can watch 5 rounds of Warhammer 40k in just 15 minutes. Today we have Adam Johnson's Tyranids versus Chris Payton's Orks. Let's meet the players.
This is Chris and I'm playing my Golf Stabby list. It'll be my first melee list with the new 9th edition Codex.
Hey, this is Adam and today I'll be playing my mixed Hive fleet Tyranids. Today's mission will be Retrieval Mission. Each player deploys along a short board edge with a 24-inch no man's land in the center. There are 6 objectives, 1 in each player's deployment zone, and 4 in the center of the table. The primary objective for Retrieval Mission is Take and Hold, often known as Hold 1, Hold 2, Hold More, and the mission secondary is Minimize Losses, a secondary where players will receive points based on the percentage of their army that they have left on the battlefield at the end of the game. For secondary objectives, Chris has chosen Green Tide, Grind Them Down, and Raise the Banners High. Meanwhile, Adam has chosen Stranglehold, No Prisoners, and Retrieve Octarius data. Let's get to the game and see how this goes.
Okay, so I got turn 1, so my goal was to move up my guys towards the middle, try to keep them in cover somewhat. It's new Codex, probably should have been more aggressive, but yeah, there's that. Also, I realized too late that my Weird Boys to jump is a 12-inch range, so I didn't move my Shooter Boys out of the way enough.
That's a big change from before. It used to be a 3-inch aura?
It's 3 or 6. You had to be, it was real close. And then, so yeah, you'll see here that I jump my boys into the middle because I want to take out the Warriors, because I know Warriors are going to pepper my army pretty rough. So nice with the stratagem where I was able to make my DACA weapon. My DACA weapons fire 3 times instead of 2 because they were, that way count all my guys as being within 9.
Yeah, so right here, that center unit there were Shooter Boys. They did take a lot of shots at my Tyranid Warriors. The camera malfunctioned and we didn't get the markers recorded for it, but there was a lot of firepower that went from that DACA jet and those Shooter Boys into the Tyranid Warriors.
I actually killed 3 Warriors with that and the DACA jet. And then I charged them, and I'll tell you, Goths are really nasty. I got, with the +1 strength on the charge, even Shooter Boys, they were getting 2 attacks each, plus I was getting strength 5, so I was wounding on 3s, and 6s were generating extra hits, not just attacks, and I ended up killing all but 2 of his warriors on turn 1 with basically a squad of 20 Shooter Boys, not even regular Slugger Boys.
Yeah, my Warriors swung back with their Scything Talons. Truthfully, that Strength 4 going against the Tough 5, I was just not able to do much with them swinging back against them. Even though I've got my Prime there for the extra +1 to hit, it was pretty rough.
I'm liking the Toughness 5. Making his Warriors swing in and they're only wounding on 5s, I think I lost 1 model.
Something that's rare here for me, my Dimacarion did not charge up the battlefield. Usually it just plows straight into my opponent's face. I had to deal with the threats that were on my back line here today. Instead of shooting at those Shooter Boys sitting there in the middle of the battlefield, I had to take them out in close combat because he did manage to tri-point my Warriors. I couldn't fall back without Desperate Breakout, which would have been a bad choice for me, I think.
Yeah, Desperate Breakout would have maybe helped you, but you know that was my point, is to make you make those tough decisions turn 1. Unfortunately, your boys there, I can't remember what they're called now, Exocrines, literally one by itself literally just ripped my DACA jet off the table, and that really hurt because I was planning on having that thing harass you for at least 2 or 3 turns, and it literally just disappeared as soon as I put it out in front of you. Yeah,
the second one did absolutely nothing to those mega knobs in the back there. However, my Hive Guard almost take out this unit on the objective. I was really trying to take out that unit. I feel like going second Stranglehold is a really good choice 90% of the time, but I just couldn't bully Chris enough on this first turn to get that holding more objectives than my opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to hold the objectives, but as you see, I played a little too conservatively. I probably should have rushed out there more, especially with all the Storm Boys that you see, since I have 3 units of them. But I was planning on popping my wall on turn 2, which you'll see here in a minute, so I figured I'd be okay. But unfortunately, he was able to move block me with his big boys.
Yeah, right here I was able to make a charge with my Swarmlord, my Dimacarion, and my Tyranid Prime, managing to really just put a hurting on those Shooter Boys right there. It was not great for
Which
them.
I knew I was going to lose those, but the fact is he blocked me from getting to anything else that wasn't super hard to kill on my turn 2.
And at the end of turn 1, we have a very low scoring game so far, with Chris taking the only points with 5 points for his Green Tide secondary. Let's move on to turn 2.
Now, rolling into turn 2 here, as you'll see with the new codex, I used my war boss to call the Wah, which was really awesome because Storm Boys now have the ability to advance and 6 inches guaranteed, which they had in 8th edition, but it was really risky because you'd always lose a model for every one you rolled afterwards. Now, you roll, and only on like a 4-up do you lose it, and you lose one model instead of one per guy. It's just one roll for each unit, and here I only lose one total on the advance rolls, putting me literally within like spitting distance of 45 of my Storm Boys, or 50 of them right up his middle line there. And then I teleport my my Mega Knobs here, hoping for the big charge off the big boy so I can rip him off the table. But you'll see here, it didn't work out like I wanted it to.
Did your Storm Boys get a points decrease for their codex?
They actually did. They actually went down. They were 9 points in 8th edition, jumped up to 12 points in the beginning of 9th edition, and now they're down to 11, which, with the fact they get +1 strength on the charge, and they get the new advance rule where they only potentially lose one model when they super advance instead of multiple, I'm okay with 11 points a model.
One big thing here, Chris was able to get a boat ton of his Storm Boys along with his War Boss in close combat with me. I think one failing that he had here was that he wasn't quite able to get those Storm Boys back far enough to get into contact with my Exocrines or to get in contact with my Hive Guard, which is something that he really needed to achieve to limit some of my shooting.
Yeah, it really did kind of mess with me there. I will say the failure of the Mega Knobs and my War Boss also failing to really hurt your Diamond Carry-On, because you made some really good saves there. Because I think I was going to do like 15 or 18 wounds to him with my rolls, and he only got stuck with 5 damage.
Something we didn't mention on the first turn, Chris did manage to fail the roll-off against my Diamond Carry-On strength. So the Diamond Carry-On did a d6 mortal wounds to his unit of Shooter Boys, as well as getting that 5-up feel no pain for the rest of the game.
And that honestly was brutal against me.
Diamond Carry-On is one of probably the 3
undercosted,
best
yep,
units.
undercosted.
It is not. It just got a points increased. It's fine. But
and it needs another one. It's fine. You can admit it.
It is one of the 3 best units in my codex.
But the big thing for me on this turn was that in retrospect, if I had been able to get my Storm Boys, moved them earlier in the game, which I should have, and just risked them getting shot a little more, is they should have jumped and taken out those Hive Guard. Those Hive Guard punished me so hard this game. The Exocrines hit me, but they took out my big, like, heavy pointed stuff, but those Hive Guard just ripped me off the table, and it was brutal because I could not get rid of them.
Yeah, and we're seeing some work here. The Swarmlord is going to do some real work here. I think the Swarmlord killed 7 guys out of 6 attacks with the additional mortal
it was
wound.
stupid. It was dumb. He killed more models than he had attacks.
Yeah.
The only thing I was able to do here was that with my units in the back, because I'm trying out my old 3rd edition type playstyle where the Orc Boys only have 15 to 20 guys per mob, because they lost all of their bonuses for 30-man squads from 8th edition. No bonuses to attacks, no bonuses to leadership based on being more than 20 models or anything like that. So I figured make it more maneuverable, because they're really killy still at 15 models, which allowed me to basically screen out my whole backfield so he couldn't get Octarius off easily with his Lictors.
Yeah, my Lictor, if you see at the bottom left-hand corner, my Lictor had to actually come in my deployment zone because I didn't have any warriors left to go do Octarius data, so Lictor had to come in my deployment zone and do that. The Tyranid at the top had to actually shoot in close combat, which he managed to take out a couple of guys in close combat. Those Exocrines, though, just hammered those boys that were still up at my side of the table.
So the problem was that his Exocrines, except for the one Exocrine on turn 1 that failed to even kill but I think 1 Mega Knob, literally every single turn of the game after that, he got basically 24 shots, and he pretty much got between 20 and 24 wounds every single time he fired them. It was ungodly on how good his rolls were with those things. It pretty much won him the game because I could not get to them, and he couldn't stop rolling high numbers for them.
It did a lot. I don't think it did as much as the Hive Guard, but it did quite a bit for me. So, over the course of turn 2, Chris has scored 18 points. Meanwhile, Adam has scored 13. Keep in mind, though, some of those points for Adam will be scored at the end of the game for no prisoners and retrieve Octarius data. At the end of turn 2, Chris is leading with 23 to 13. Let's see how the next turn goes.
And you'll see at the beginning of my turn 3, unfortunately I'm out of a lot of Storm Boys, but I gotta try to hold my objectives that I've got raised banners on. Luckily I've got my Weird Boy in the back, which I will tell you right now, my Weird Boy kind of got broke, so I'm using a proxy model at the moment. So if you look closely, yes, it is a big mech with shock attack gun, but it's the same size of base. So we did that for this one game. Luckily mine's fixed for later.
Sometimes you just drop a model.
Yeah, and I do that a lot. Thank God I don't have a lot of pewter anymore. But I was able to teleport my knobs in the back. You'll see I'll finally, because he's got his Termagants out of the way, I can finally take care of his Hive Guard, or at least try to. And then I've got my boys here in the back, lower right-hand corner. You'll see I just did abysmal on my advance roll, so they didn't get to go anywhere, so I had to leave the other unit in front of them to hold the objective. And my war boss went and decided no more Diamond Carrion was going to be on the table. And then, and then I think he did interrupt.
Poor harmless Dimacarion.
Poor demon, horrifying, god-awful Dimacarion.
He just wants to eat your face, your delicious, delicious face.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, and then the other big boy, what's his name up there in the top? I can't remember again.
That's a Hyrule.
Yeah, the Hyrule, he actually fought with him first, and he ended up killing like 3. He's like, oh, I've only got 4 attacks, and then kills like 3 of my guys anyways. But then my Mega Knobs were like, nah, smack, go away. And then my knobs finally get a chance because they made their 9-inch roll. Luckily, I get to re-roll for free. Not as good as 8th edition because I don't get to pick the die. I have to re-roll both, but I still got a lucky 9 on that and wiped out all but one of the Hive Guard, reducing them to basically virtually ineffective.
Unfortunately, Chris was just a little far from the Hive Guard with the number that he killed to be able to pile into another round of combat there.
And they do have a new stratagem I can use that allows me to pile in 6 inches instead of 3, but it only works on boys, so can't use it on knobs.
Yeah, one of my big strengths here was having those gaunts right behind the wall, so I've still got OBSEC, so I still hold that objective. This turn?
Yeah.
Yeah, on my turn, my Swarmlord is going after his war boss. It's a little epic fight going on down there. Chris is going to make a little bit of a mistake in that fight when it comes around, but...
Look, big monster must die.
Yeah, you got an orc mindset a little bit too much on that one, and it cost you some.
Yeah. Honestly, if I could have avoided it, I wasn't even going to go after the the Swarmlord. I was going to go after an Exocrine with my war boss because he would have probably made short work of them.
One big thing, if you look, Chris has really done a good job of keeping me out of deep striking on his back line. I had to bring in a Lictor dead center in the middle of the board. I tried charging the unit of 3 Storm Boys. I did not make my charge roll. I really wanted to get over
I was okay with that.
I actually think it worked out better for me that I didn't. You'll see what I mean next turn. Alright, so at the end of turn 3, Chris has scored 10 points for Take and Hold, same as Adam. Chris has also scored 3 for Grind Them Down, 5 for Green Tide, and 3 for Raise the Banners, bringing our total scores at the end of turn 3 to 44 to 23. Keep in mind, Adam is still going to score a bunch at the end of the game for 2 of his secondaries.
Now, fortunately, I don't have to care anymore about one of my secondaries because I took the one in the book, the Green Tide, which I'm playing it as written, so I divided the table into 4 columns of equal, but I'd already scored 15 points, so I didn't have to care about that anymore. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any for kill more units. I think I got it once or twice the whole game, but in this turn, it starts not going so hot for me. I teleport. I think I've got a good chance here to kind of make up some ground now that the Hive Guard stuff are gone, but you'll see here in a second, I fail my charge against the Termagants.
Yeah, that's pretty devastating for Chris, because with failing that charge, then I can still shoot him up. He didn't really do anything to take out anything in my back line. He couldn't charge in and tie up an Exocrine. It's pretty rough. Additionally, now that it's my turn, I'm actually happy I didn't charge with the Lictor before, because you can see that Lictor in the upper right corner. He's sitting on that objective. He's going to die, but he at least performs Octarius data for me on turn 4. So that gives me my 3rd Octarius data of the game.
Yeah, and so here, and the problem was I would have even shot the Termagants maybe, but I didn't want to have them too far away to where I couldn't charge them. So, and I hadn't decided at that time if I wanted to charge the Hive Guard or the Termagants, and so I didn't shoot at either of them. So literally I teleported a unit to basically just get it killed.
So we forgot to mark it here, but I had one Exocrine target his unit on his War Boss, and the other Exocrine targeted the unit of guys that my Swarmlord just charged into. So their shooting is still going off. My Tyranid Warrior in the north charged into his Mega Knob and dealt him his last wound with some lucky rolls. And my Swarmlord basically whiffs on that unit of dudes, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to get my Lictor there.
And during turn 4, Chris has scored 16 points to Adam's 13, bringing our total score so far to Chris with 60 to Adam with 33. Now keep in mind, the number of Adam's points are going to score at the end of the game from those end game scoring objectives. Let's get on to the last turn.
So last ditch effort to try to keep him from getting, I think I get 15 points for primaries on this last turn. I'm trying to keep him from being able to hold it enough at the end of his turn, knowing he doesn't score till the end. Trying to get the kill more, so I charge the Lictor, I charge the Termagants, wipe both of those units out. But unfortunately, as you see here, I can't get enough going.
Yeah, with my last turn, because I'm going second, because I scored at the end of my turn, I'm able to just move on to some objectives, take out that last unit of 2 boys there, and retrieve Octarius data with my Lictor.
Which losing literally the raised banners cost me the game because I lose it right here, which I've held since the beginning of the game.
Yep. Great game, Chris.
Great game.
And for turn 5, both players scored 15 for Take and Hold. Chris scored 3 for Raised Banners. Adam scored 3 for Stranglehold. And at the end of the game, with paint scores, we come to a final score of Adam with 91 points and Chris with 90 points. It's been a great game. If you like what you're seeing here today and you like our battle reports, please give us a like and subscribe. It'd really help us out. And until next time, happy wargaming.